Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Now I'm here to answer any questions you children may have about the monorail.
Me! Can it outrun the Flash?
You bet.
Can Superman outrun the Flash?
Sure, why not?
Using his vast knowledge of history and politics, we start our day off right with motivational speaker Richard Battle.
And we're coming from location today. Very exciting. Mr. Battle, thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us bat lead off again today.
For folks who pay a lot of attention, you're a big softball guy. You and your team it's over 55, right?
Oh,
55?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you guys do a little traveling. You're from Texas and you're in Utah, right? Playing a little ball.
We're here for the Huntsman Games, which is kind of like the Senior Olympics in many, many sports, and enjoying the weather and hospitality out here.
I love that. I like it a lot. And how's the ball going?
Well, we're through the pool phase, and the real tournament starts today.
Okay, and the pool phase went well. You went undefeated through that, I presume?
Well, we're ranked in the top division, so
nice.
I think it's more reputation than performance. But
all right, that's all right. So how many days is this whole tournament from beginning to end? When did you get there? When will you leave? Is this all the way through the weekend?
Oh, we got here Sunday, and we'll leave Saturday.
Good for you. I know ball fun, good times. We all get a little older, a little more aches and pains. You play more than one game a day, and then, I'm sorry, I presume you just sit in a hot tub and wait for the next day to heal? What? Really?
This tournament's a Chamber of Commerce tournament, so you play 1 or 2 games a day, and they stretch it out as many days as they can. Normally, you play 3 or 4 games a day and get it over with quicker.
Wow. All right. Well, good for you. Good luck. We'll talk next week, see how you guys did. That's great. And you have 2 more of these big tournaments, right? You do 3 of these a year?
One more big tournament next month.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We're going to talk today about what we give up as citizens of America for safety, for other reasons, for equity, things like that. I love this topic because the founding fathers even talked about it, right? They were talking about, hey, what will you give up for safety if you want to give up your freedoms? And there's a lot to that, but it's happening faster now than I think it ever has in the history of the United States, right? We're willing to give up everything.
Well, Franklin said that those willing to give up freedom for security deserve neither. And would have neither, basically. And so that's the thing. The reason I'm bringing this up is our citizenship is unique in the world and unique in history, and we should value and cherish it and protect it because it's been earned at a great price. And we have people who want us just to up and give it up for equity and some type of security and accept the mediocrity that other people live by doing that.
Yeah, and I guess an example of that would be that, let's just use illegal immigration. Somebody comes in here illegally, and some folks are yelling, they must get due process. They have a right to this, this, and this. People that aren't U.S. citizens don't have any U.S. citizens' rights, do they?
Well, they don't have U.S. citizen rights. Unfortunately, the courts have given them some rights that most of us would not think they would be eligible for as non-citizens. And we certainly don't expect when we travel to foreign countries either.
Yeah. Another one I would throw out in, I want to say it's New York, and I'm almost sure that is. New York allows non-citizens to vote in their local elections. I can imagine the founding fathers go, you're talking what?
Well, exactly. Non-citizens shouldn't be allowed to vote. Can you imagine traveling anywhere in the world, Europe or Mexico or any place, and being there a few weeks and somebody allowing you to vote in a national or state election?
Yeah. But how do I put this? That's why I'm saying that we seem to be losing it quicker. There's a large majority of Minnesota Americans who it just feels better if we let them do this and that, and we don't want to tell anybody no. And isn't that the problem? We're like, at some point that waters down who you are as an American citizen.
Well, exactly. It means it's not worth very much. It makes it to where you're no different than a resident or an occupant. Subjects are owned basically by their government. And that's the big difference. Subjects in the UK, they're owned by the king and the government, and we are independent citizens, and we own the government.
See,
And why should we give up our ownership to become subjects to a government power?
See, and I think a lot of Americans don't even think of it like that. Can't think of another place in the world where our rights are ours and we give what we want to the government instead of the other way around. I can't think of another state, another country. Yeah, a true republic that says, no, we have our rights. Those are basic and given, and we decide how much to give to our government to manage those processes. We're the only ones like that, but I don't think people look at it that way.
Well, they don't, and they don't take the time to reflect on where we've come from and where people are trying to take us. And we think we've got the same rights our ancestor did, but we don't. And so that's the thing. We've got to protect those rights or we will lose them. And we have not only rights given by God, but we have responsibilities as citizens that are unique also to contribute to our fellow citizens. It's not contributing to the government, it's contributing to our fellow citizens like a large family, if you will.
Sure. No, I understand. We watered down in a lot of ways. Dual citizenship. The other one, and I think we're going to find one out here relatively soon. Birthright citizen. If you just happen to be born on American soil, you're an American. I think we're going to work through that, which I find is interesting that we're 250 years into this and we're figuring that out. Your thoughts on just dual citizenships or being born in this country makes you an American?
Well, dual citizenships first, to me, I don't like that because that's a divided loyalty. And you ought to be loyal to one country or another. Pick one. But being dual citizens, there's some benefits to it, but you don't fulfill your obligations and responsibilities and loyalty to some single government. And that's a pretty recent phenomenon in the 20th century, unfortunately. And the birthright citizenship, yes, they've done this since the Civil War. They've basically given it. But if you and your family go to Panama like John McCain's family did, and John McCain was born in Panama, he was not a Panamanian citizen. He was an American citizen because the clause in the Constitution says you are a citizen of the country, you are subject thereof, and you would be subject to the United States laws if you were traveling in Panama. And so those people that come up here and have a baby, if they're citizens of another country, they're subject to their country's laws. They're not subject to the U.S. laws, but we've given that away. And now we let people abuse it by the thousands and thousands because there are a lot of people that come purposely to have kids and to get on the welfare rolls for not only them, but be anchor babies to bring in their whole family into the country.
But I look at that again, how we look at things differently. This is why it kind of worries me about where we're going in 2025. Is by saying that alone, people are aghast. I don't know of another country that has birthright citizenship. I do not know of another country that says you just come in. Or like you say, you want to come in here in New York and you can vote for your local election. I can't go to France. I can't go to Germany. I can't go to name any other country and say, I'd like to vote in this election. They look at you and say, what you got a third eye in your head? You know, we're the only ones who do it. And again, the feeling is with half the folks in America, that's what makes us great. And that's exactly what's going to crush us, right? We water down what it means to be Americans, and you might as well be anything else.
Well, and we welcome people coming to this country to live, and we have about 1 million legal aliens a year come into this country. We're very welcoming. We just don't want it to be unregulated and illegal immigration, and that's the difference. And we have people today trying to water down legal and illegal immigration, and they want to make every alien that comes into the country legal, and that's not the case. If we get that, we will lose the country, not because we're not welcoming, but because we now have a welfare state, and we cannot afford to support the whole world.
There we go. We'll go to break. We'll talk about the push for equity and then what we should do as Americans as far as how do we push to, or how do we fight in terms, quotes, how do we fight to keep our rights? We'll talk about that next.
When the stakes are high at the Minnesota Capitol, you need more than a lobbyist. You need a partner. At Momentum Advocacy, we bring nearly 90 years of combined experience in government relations, public affairs, and strategic communications. From nonprofits to national corporations, we help organizations navigate Minnesota's political landscape with integrity, insight, and results. Whether you need legislative champions or headlines, Momentum Advocacy delivers. For more, visit momentum-advocacy.com. Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmeriCanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
And we've got him. It's Richard Battle talking about our freedoms, who we are, what it means to be a citizen of the United States. And I think one of those attacks on that freedom has got to be equity. This idea that we're all equal, it really doesn't say that in our founding documents. We all have the same equal right to go get what we want and what we're willing to put in, but it isn't the same equality, our equity we're talking about today, is it?
Well, it's easy to be confused because we have equality, equal opportunity.
Opportunity.
Equity is equal results. And so if everyone gets equal results, then there's no incentive to excel or to be the best you can be or try to earn every dollar you can or have your family do the best it can, because all you'll be is the bottom equality or equity of everybody being the same. And so the easiest analogy I know of is, think of a school you go into and the teacher says, we're going to have the hardest test you'll ever take in your life. You better really study. Mm-hmm. And people go in and some study hard and they make A's and some don't study and they make F's. And the teacher walks in and says, well, guess what? We've got equity in here. We're going to give everybody a C regardless of what you did. And so what does that say to the people who studied hard? It says, well, next time there's a test, you don't work hard or study because it doesn't make any difference. And it tells the people who made an F and were given a C that, hey, I'm going to be taken care of my whole life. I don't need to do anything either. Right. I'll get the same as the people that work hard. And that's what we see in other countries around the world. We don't want that. We want equality of opportunity. We want everybody using their God-given gifts and talents to be the best they can, because everybody doing that in their gifted areas builds the country up as a whole. Plus, you have a richer and more fulfilling life.
So, due to not our own work, just dumb luck, we were born as Americans. We have the citizenship that other people fought for to give us this freedoms, to have this self-control. Like you say, it doesn't happen anywhere else in any other country. What do we owe for that? What's our obligation in having this freedom that no one else has?
Well, and we've got individual liberty. That's the key. It's not collective. And we've got people trying to change it to a collective freedom now as well. We need to protect the individual freedom. And as John Ben Shepherd, my former mentor and friend, said, to be born free is an accident, to live free is a responsibility, but to die free is an obligation. And it's our job to protect that freedom and that gift we were given to future generations. And so we have to be involved in what's going on, because if we just think about football or whatever,
Yeah.
then somebody else is going to be making decisions and take over for us. So that means voting, knowing what's going on, voting for people who will do a good job representing us. It's not a partisan issue either way, but it's people who love this country. We have to accept opinions we don't like and speech we don't like, because we want our common good to be celebrated and reinforced, not the differences that tear us apart.
There's something with speaking up too, right? I mean, if you see that injustice, if you see something squeaking in on your freedoms and your rights, you have to speak up, because they always talk about the silent majority. I think there are a whole lot of people with their head down, happy with what they've got going on, and I don't want to be putting my head up and having a shot at somebody taking one at me. But if you do that long enough, and the other side will win, because they play the long game, right? They're a little here and a little there, and all of a sudden you can look up and say, where'd my freedom go?
Well, that's exactly correct. And there's the old question about why did the Roman Empire fall? And the answer is because the people didn't care. And our biggest enemy is apathy and people not caring, or using what I call the millennial answer, which is don't know, don't care. And we have way too much of that in this country. And the more people stand up and care and are involved, at least in some level, the more the people who are running things realize they're the servants and not the boss.
Love that. Absolutely. We're going to run out of time here, friend. I don't want to do it without getting to your books. It all started for me with Made in America by AmeriCANS, not AmeriCANS. It got him going on the great folks in America, and now I can barely hold up all the books. We then got Americans Who Made America the 18th Century, The Birth of the Republic. Oh, you're going to love that book. And now it's the 19th century, Growth, Division, Reunification. You can get the whole 3-book set, if I'm not mistaken, at richardbattle.com. How do I do it?
Well, richardbattle.com, all books are signed. We actually have a promotion going, a patriotic promotion. If you get those 3 books, we throw in a 4th book free.
Nice.
If you go to Amazon, all 12 books are available. 11 are on Kindle and 8 are on audio as well. If you look up under Richard V. Battle, the books will come up.
I just want to tell you, as you're thinking about things to get for your family for Christmas, think about this. If you have kids that are into history, some that should be into history, this should be lying on your shelf, just so some kid, your grandkid, can open up and say, what's this about, Grandpa? And say, you're going to want to read this. These are books every family should have. I'm telling you that right now. Battle, love having you in the program. Good luck today, this weekend. Go get him. You're the big stick. You bat lead off. Where do you sit in the lineup?
Well, I'm in the lineup. That's good,
All right.
good enough.
Good enough. Fair enough. I appreciate you, sir. Thanks for doing the show.
God bless America.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a